This is BBC Radio 4, and now with the time at 12 minutes to 1, the shipping forecast issued by the Met Office on behalf of the Maritime and Coast Guard Agency at 0015, today, Monday the 9th of July. There are warnings of gales in South Atsira and Fisher. The general synopsis at 1800, high 220 miles west of Shannon, 1032, expected southwest Rockall, 1032 by 1800 today. Low southwest Norway, 1013, expected Denmark, 1010 by the same time. New low expected Southern Ireland, 1027 by that time. The area forecasts for the next 24 hours. Viking, North Atsira, northwesterly, veering northerly 527, fair, good. South Atsira, northwesterly 6 to gale 8, fair, good. Forties, northwest, veering north later 5 or 6, occasionally 7 later in east, fair, good. Cromarty, 4th, north or northwest 4 or 5, fair, good. Tyne, variable 3 or 4, becoming north 4 or 5, fair, mainly good. Dogger, variable 3 or 4, becoming north 5 or 6, fair, good. Fisher, northwest 6 to gale 8, fair, good. Northeast German bight, northwesterly 4 or 5, increasing 6 or 7, fair, good. Southwest German bight Humber, northerly or northwesterly 3 or 4, increasing 5 or 6 later, fair, good. Thames Dover white, variable 3 or 4, becoming north or northeast 5 or 6, later, fair, good. Portland Plymouth, variable, mainly north 3 or 4, fair, good. Biscay, northeast 4 or 5, fair, good. Trafalgar, north or northwest 4 or 5, fair, good. Southeast Fitzroy, cyclonic 5 or 6, fair, good. Northwest Fitzroy, Seoul, Lundy, Fastnet, northerly or northeasterly 4 or 5, fair, good. Irish Sea, northwest 4, increasing 5 or 6 later, fair, good. Shannon, southeast Rockall, variable 3 or 4, mainly fair, good, occasionally poor. Northwest Rockall, southwesterly 4 or 5, occasionally 6 at first, fair, good. Malin, northwesterly 3 or 4, increasing 5 or 6 in the southeast, fair, mainly good. Hebrides, west or southwest 4 or 5, drizzle and fog patches later, moderate or good, occasionally very poor later. Bailey, south or southwest 5 or 6, decreasing 3 or 4, drizzle and fog patches, moderate or good, occasionally very poor. East Fair Isle, northwesterly 4 or 5, fair, good. West Fair Isle, Faroes, westerly or southwesterly 4 or 5, drizzle and fog patches later, moderate or good, occasionally very poor later. Southeast Iceland, southwesterly 5 to 7, perhaps gale 8 later, rain at first, moderate or poor, becoming good. That brings us to the end of the shipping forecast. Now we move on to the weather reports from coastal stations for 2300. Tiree automatic, northwest by north 3, 24 miles, 1030, rising slowly. Stornoway, northwest by west 2, 27 miles, 1030, rising slowly. Lerwick, northwest by west 3, 16 miles, 1026, rising slowly. Aberdeen, north-northeast 3, 16 miles, 1029, rising slowly. Lucas, east 4, slight showers, 16 miles, 1029, rising more slowly. Boomer, north-northwest 3, 14 miles, 1027, rising slowly. Bridlington, southwest 2, 1026, rising slowly. Sandetti light vessel automatic, east-northeast 2, more than 27 miles, 1026, now falling. Greenwich light vessel automatic, north by west 3, more than 27 miles, 1026, rising slowly. St Catherine's Point automatic, east-northeast 3, 1025, rising slowly. Jersey, north by east 3, 13 miles, 1026, rising slowly. Channel Light Vessel automatic, northwest 4, 11 miles, 1026, rising slowly. Scilly automatic, north by west 3, 24 miles, 1028, rising slowly. Milford Haven, north by west 3, 27 miles, 1028, rising slowly. Aberporth, west 2, 6 miles, 1028, rising slowly. Valley, north-northwest 2, 24 miles, 1028, rising slowly. Liverpool Crosby, north-northeast 1, 27 miles, 1028, rising slowly. Valencia, north-northwest 2, 27 miles, 1030, rising slowly. Ronaldsway, north by west 3, 22 miles, 1028, rising slowly. Malin Head, northeast 3, mist 1 mile, 1030, rising slowly. Machrihanish automatic, west-southwest 3, 2 miles, 1029, rising more slowly. And now here's the weather forecast for the inshore waters of Great Britain and Northern Ireland, valid for the following 24 hours, issued by the Met Office at 2300 on Sunday the 8th of July. The general situation: high pressure over the United Kingdom will pull back westwards and allow a weak cold front to edge southwards across all areas on Monday, bringing cooler and fresher conditions. Thereafter, a northerly or northeasterly airflow will become established, brisk at times. Cape Wrath to Rattray Head, including Orkney, west or northwest 3 or 4, increasing 5 at times, occasional drizzle later in the north, good, occasionally poor later in the north. Rattray Head to Berwick-upon-Tweed, variable 3 or 4 at times in the south, otherwise northerly or northeasterly 4 or 5, fair, mainly good. Berwick-upon-Tweed to Whitby, variable 3 or less, becoming north or northeast 3 or 4, occasionally 5 later, fair, mainly good. Whitby to Gibraltar Point, variable 3 or less, becoming north or northeast 3 or 4, occasionally 5 later, fair, mainly good. Gibraltar Point to North Foreland, variable 3 or less, becoming northerly 4 or 5 later, fair, mainly good. North Foreland to Selsey Bill, variable, becoming southwesterly for a time 3 or 4, then becoming northeasterly 4 or 5 later, fair, good, occasionally moderate. Selsey Bill to Lyme Regis, variable 3 or less, becoming northeast 3 or 4 later, fair, good, occasionally moderate. Lyme Regis to Land's End, including the Isles of Scilly, variable, mainly northerly 3 or 4, occasionally 5 in the far west, fair, good. Land's End to St David's Head, including the Bristol Channel, northerly 3 or 4, occasionally 5 in the west, fair, good. St David's Head to Great Orme Head, including the St George's Channel, north 3 or 4, increasing 5, occasionally 6 later, fair, good. Great Orme Head to the Mull of Galloway, northwest 3 or 4, increasing 5, occasionally 6 later in the west, fair, good. Isle of Man, northwest 3 or 4, increasing 5 at times later, fair, good. Loch Foyle to Carlingford Loch, northerly or northwesterly 3 or 4, increasing 5, occasionally 6 later in the North Channel, fair, good, occasionally moderate at first. Mull of Galloway to the Mull of Kintyre, including the Firth of Clyde and the North Channel, northerly or northwesterly 3 or 4, increasing 5, occasionally 6 later in the North Channel, fair, good, occasionally moderate at first. Mull of Kintyre to Ardnamurchan Point, northerly or northwesterly 3 or 4, occasionally 5 later in the southeast, fair, good. Ardnamurchan Point to Cape Wrath, west 3 or 4, occasionally drizzle later, good, occasionally moderate later. And finally, Shetland Isles, northwest 4 or 5, becoming variable 3 or 4 later, occasional drizzle later, good, occasionally poor later. That completes the shipping bulletin. There'll be another one at around 5:20, but that's where we come to the end of another night here on BBC Radio 4. But don't let that worry you, because there are other equally rewarding refuges of radio for the early hours. The BBC World Service will be on hand in a moment on this frequency. You don't have to lift a finger to listen to that. I'll do all the work to make that happen, and you will be able to hear the world news if you stay tuned. Should you tune away then, digital sidekick Radio 4 Extra will take you back in time to 1908 to meet Bruce and Edith, the little Ottleys as they were called, who lived in a very new, very small, very white flat in Knightsbridge. And so begins Ada Levison's witty and wonderful social comedy set in Edwardian London. That's coming up in just a moment on Radio 4 Extra. And on Radio 3, Jonathan Swain is presenting a concert of piano music performed by Louisa Borac, and including works by Bach, Chopin and Liszt. Plenty of choice for you there across our radio networks throughout the night. But we're played out, so now on behalf of everyone working here in Broadcasting House, this is David Miles wishing you a very peaceful night. Good night.